Hey, horror comics fans. We're going to look at some issues of House of Mystery from DC. This title ran from 1968 to 1983, and it ran all the way up to number 321, I believe. But in this episode, I'm just going to cover 174 to 225 in the interest of time. I don't want these videos to go forever. I'll just do more videos later and cover the rest of them. But anyway, this number 174 here is noteworthy because it started what is called the mystery line of comic books by DC, helmed by the great Joe Orlando. And he was with EC Comics, and he worked for different companies, and he was huge back in the day, so that's why they got him to oversee this, be the editor-in-chief of the mystery line. They had to tread lightly. They called it mystery. It was really horror light because the comics code was still in full effect at that point, and it would not become more lenient until 1971. So, you could do a few things, but you had to watch it. They didn't want to take a chance on ruffling feathers with parents and maybe, not getting that little code seal on there. And that would affect distribution, and that would affect cash flow, and you know how that goes. So, anyway, getting back to this 174, this cover, this iconic cover that's been homaged a few times, is by Joe Orlando, and sometimes this was erroneously attributed to Neal Adams, but it's not. It's Joe Orlando. And it's emblematic of the approach that DC had. You have the ominous, scary hand beckoning the children to come inside. And even though most of the inside, well, I think all the inside's reprints, the cover and the fact that this is the first one that kicked off the new mystery line makes this an important issue. Here is the next issue, number 175, covered by the great Neal Adams. This is the first appearance of Kane, the caretaker, the host for the House of Mystery. And let me point out my little framing items here. Got this blow mold haunted house that I really like a lot on the left. Reminds me a lot of the House of Mystery, so you've seen that before in other videos, and I'm going to use it again for House of Secrets and House of Mystery and maybe some other stuff because I really like it. And on the right here, we've got the first paperback for the House of Mystery with great Bernie Wrightson cover. Let's get that up there and check that out. I've got the lighting off to the side so that the glare doesn't blind you and obscure everything from this Mylar. So there we go. There are the framing pieces. 174 and 175. Cool comics. All right, number 176. Another great cover by Neal Adams. Adams did a lot of work early on, especially on covers for DC. Number 177. Another Neal Adams cover. Yeah. Little graveyard action there. Looks like that dude up there digging's up to no good. And those mystery brats are going to be given away by perhaps these cats. Who knows? The mystery brats are a fixture on these covers. And number 178, another cover by Neal Adams. And Neal Adams also does some interior artwork in this issue. 179. This one is near and dear to my heart. This is an Adams cover. It's a great one. Reminds me a lot of the Witching Hour stuff by Carty. But the reason this is so special, it's Bernie Wrightson's first professional work on the inside. And it also has a Neal Adams art story on the inside. So it's a real winner here. Bernie Wrightson is my favorite artist. Okay, we go to number 180. This cover is by Neal Adams. And this has a Bernie Wrightson interior story. I think this early work that Wrightson did is some of his best, if not his best ever. His style changed a little bit in the late 70s. And I think he had an accident ice skating or something and broke his hand, and his art, you know, was good after that, but it lacked some of that really fine, really stunning detail that he put into his early work that's so enjoyable. It's number 181, cover by Neal Adams, and this has interior art by Bernie Wrightson. 182. This cover is by Neal Adams, and this has Alex Toth art on the inside. (183). This has a Neal Adams cover, and this has Bernie Wrightson artwork on the inside. So you can see, I mean, the hits just keep coming with these early issues. Just spectacular art all the way, you know. Beautiful stuff. Mystery brats abound. Okay, number 184. This cover is by Neal Adams, and there is a story by Alex Toth on the inside. When I say a story by these artists, I'm talking about, of course, the art on it. And here is another great Neal Adams cover. And this has interior art by Wally Wood and Al Williamson. Both greats in their own right. And here's number 186. This cover is by Neal Adams as well, and this has interior art by Bernie Wrightson and Neal Adams. (187). Cover by Neal Adams. Interior art by Alex Toth. Yeah, those brats are in trouble now. Okay, number 188. This cover is by Neal Adams. And there is also a Bernie Wrightson story on the inside of this issue. This is a cool one. This 189, this is an Adams cover. And there's the rat cat. That's probably, man, I mean, that's like a hybrid, dude. That's strangely beautiful. And there is a Tom Sutton story on the inside of this issue. Sutton's another favorite. Number 190. This cover is by Neal Adams, and there is interior art by Alex Toth on the inside. A witch must die. Everybody's always ragging on witches, man. Okay, this cover is by Neal Adams. It's a weird one. These little robotic children are doing something awful to this dude, and I don't really like where they're doing it. So we will read credits and move on. There is a Bernie Wrightson story on the inside of this issue. Kind of disturbing as the brats look on. Okay, this is number 192. This cover is by Neal Adams, and there is interior art by Gray Morrow. Yeah, the hits just keep coming, folks. Now we're getting into some Wrightson covers. This 193 here, that's a great Voodoo cover by Bernie Wrightson. 194. Another Bernie Wrightson cover. Interior art by Alex Toth, Russ Heath, Jack Kirby. Man, that Wrightson art is it's like comfort food, man. Number 195. This cover is by Bernie Wrightson. Interior art Ralph Reese, Bernie Wrightson, Mike Kaluta. There's the dude with the giant bat on his back there. When you first look at that, it kind of looks like it's some kind of a mutant thing, but that is a giant bat attacking some running guy. They're trying to get the hell out of there. Okay, number 196. This cover is by Tony DeZuniga. Interior art by Gray Morrow, Alex Toth, Nick Carty, Wayne Howard. Number 197. Great Neal Adams cover, Ghost Ship. Interior art, Nick Carty. Beautiful stuff. Okay, here's number 198. This cover is by Nick Carty. #199, cover by Neal Adams, Snow Beast. Interior art, Wally Wood, Jack Kirby. Number 200. Cover is by Mike Kaluta. Interior art by Kaluta and Ralph Reese. And number 201. Cover by Mike Kaluta. Interior art by Bernie Wrightson. Number 202. Cover by Mike Kaluta. There is a Gene Colan story in here. #203. This cover is by Russ Heath, RH. Interior art, Bernie Wrightson and Nick Carty. Man, I love this cover. 204. This is a cover by Bernie Wrightson. That's just a Lovecraftian thing from the netherworld or beyond space or another dimension or whatever. It's weird. Love that, man. I remember getting this, a copy or 2 or 3 copies of this in quarter boxes back in the day. Every time I saw this comic, I bought it. I finally got a high-grade copy years later, but in the 70s, I was all about the quarter boxes, man. We even had nickel and dime boxes in conventions back then. But I love that cover. This has interior art by Bernie Wrightson and Alex Nino. Oh, here's another great one. This cover is by Jack Sparling. Now this, you don't often hear Jack Sparling's name when you're talking about fine comic book art, but this guy could deliver when he wanted to. That is beautiful. It's like a ferryman of the Styx floating a coffin. And look at the colors. I mean, the contrast between that bright lavender lining on the coffin with the darkness of the rest of the drawing is just beautiful. This has interior art by Bernie Wrightson and Alan Weiss and Ralph Reese. Number 206. Cover by Tony DeZuniga. This has interior art by Bernie Wrightson. Scarecrow menacing the brats. Okay, here's 207. This is another Bernie Wrightson cover. And this also has Bernie Wrightson art on the inside. Number 208. No one dies today. The cemetery's closed. This cover is by Nick Carty. Man, 20-cent Bronze Age horror comic. I mean, it's just hard to beat, man. So many great memories of digging this stuff up back in the day. Number 209. This cover is by Bernie Wrightson. This also has a story on the inside with Bernie Wrightson art. 210. Cover Michael Kaluta. 211. Cover Bernie Wrightson. Sweet vampire. Getting his from some undead coming out of the grave. Man. Kind of reminds me of eerie pubs in a way without the gore, you know, the monster on monster conflict. Nice. Number 212. Of course, Bernie Wrightson is much more refined than than the eerie pubs artwork, but I love them both for different reasons, you know. This number 212, this is a Michael Kaluta cover, and this has interior art by Alex Nino. Here's a great one. Number 213, this is a Bernie Wrightson cover, and this also has interior art by Alex Nino. Back when we had those roof antenna. Dude. Yeah, he better put up with the bad picture there. Number 214. This cover is by Bernie Wrightson. That's a trippy one there. Yeah, I guess that's some kind of voodoo priest that instead of just making a doll, actually has faces of his intended victims on his fingertips. That's really wild and gorgeous because Wrightson did it. And number 215, covered by Luis Dominguez. Number 216, this cover is also by Luis Dominguez. Now, this is kind of a trope. There's like a little subgenre of comic book covers where there's a monster in the backseat of a vehicle that is menacing the driver, and the driver is looking into the rearview mirror, and you can see, you know, part of the monster in the mirror there by your perspective. It's pretty cool. That's turned up a number of times in different titles and issues. Here's a Boss Tree Monster by Bernie Wrightson on number 217. Man. Number 218, cover by George Evans. $219, cover by Luis Dominguez, and this has Bernie Wrightson art on the inside. 220, Nick Carty cover. Look at that dude's face. Yeah, a sleeping bag is a bad place to be for him. There is Alex Nino art on the inside of this. $2.21, Bernie Wrightson cover. Interior art by Wrightson and Kaluta. $2.22, cover by Luis Dominguez. Revenge from the Moth God. $2.23, covered by Luis Dominguez. Interior art by Ralph Reese. I like Ralph Reese's stuff, you know. He studied under Wally Wood. He's a Woodite. Okay, here's $2.24. This starts the 100-page super spectaculars for the House of Mystery. And this cover is by 3 different artists: Jerry Toleak, Bill Draught, Alfredo Alcala. And this has interior art by Bernie Wrightson, and it's a reprint from Spectre number 9. And number 225, cover by Luis Dominguez, Alfredo Alcala, E.R. Cruz, Murphy Anderson. 4 different artists on that cover. Those 100-pagers could not be beat for value for your money. I mean, 60 cents. It's like getting 3 comic books, you know. It's very nice. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I've got the rest of the run. I'm going to feature that in later videos. It's just, you know, I'm trying to do different things for variety's sake, for people following my videos as I go. I mean, I don't want to do 10 videos straight of comic books or 10 videos straight of dinosaur play sets or monster toys. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. So anyway, I will do the rest of these at some point. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you later. Monster ever onward.